What's up, guys? Brandon Lewis here. This is going to be the fastest Big 7 that you have ever seen old BL deliver. What do we have up for you today? We have 7 big stories. But first, let me tell you about the Protect Tennessee Borders rally. If you are sick and tired of watching rampant runaway illegal immigration in the state of Tennessee, and you want something to be done about it, if you want to voice your concerns to Republican leadership that you feel that maybe they are trying to make it worse through their inaction, and if you look historically at what they've done, I don't know that you could draw another conclusion. So do join us Wednesday. That's this coming Wednesday, March 20th, 1 p.m. Central, and we'll be on the Capitol steps behind the Beth Harwell Plaza. If you think stopping illegal aliens coming into Tennessee is important at the state level, please do share this video, retweet it, put it wherever you can, because we got to get the word out. And if you check the link when I'm done with the live cast here, we're going to put the link to the Tennessee Protect TN Borders rally right below the video. Guys, please do go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com, hit the subscribe button, and also follow us on Twitter, Gab, Getter, Truth, MeWe, and Rumble. You can text the word news to 423-205-5600 and get right on our newsletter. Guys, join me at that Protect Tennessee Borders rally. You'll be glad you did. All right, let's get right into it. Story number 1, conservative Tennessee state sovereignty bill pushed off for a 3rd year in a row. Conservatives say that they want their states, the red states, to push back against the blue federal government. And for 3 years in a row now, the RINOs have killed this bill. After failing to pass in the General Assembly in 2022 and 2023, the Restoring State Sovereignty Through Nullification Act was officially scuttled again. It's what do you expect with Randy McNally and Cameron Sexton at the helm? On March 12th, any hope of seeing the legislation make it to the floor of either chamber for discussion was killed in the Senate State and Local Government Committee, deferred to the bill summer study. Before the bill was even brought to the committee for discussion, Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti's office issued an opinion that concluded state legislatures don't have the authority to determine whether or not a law has the ability to bear constitutional scrutiny. I don't know where he's getting this. If it's not enumerated to the federal government, it is enumerated to the states. And the legislature, the governor, and the judiciary are 3 different branches of government. The judiciary is not the only governing body that gets to decide how everything goes. We don't need people in black robes making all the decisions that are unelected. Skrmetti's office issued an opinion that concluded this business, and said that only the courts can tell us what's constitutional. The bill was sent to summer study with, as usual, a voice vote being taken. The Senate usually utilizes a roll call vote, with all committee members voting in favor except for 4. Republican Senators Paige Wally, Ken Yeager, and Mark Pody voted no, alongside Democrat Jeff Yarbrough, because they didn't want the thing to be deferred. Sources tell us that had the bill gone to an actual vote to move forward, there would have been enough support to push it one step closer to a floor vote. So I think you can say that this is probably exclusively at the feet of the chair of this committee. It's probably a RINO in the Senate. Next story. Tennessee bill that could put illegal immigrants who commit violent crimes behind bars for life makes progress in the House. House Bill 1872, sponsored by Representative Monty Fritz, is on its way to the House Criminal Justice Committee after passing by a voice vote in subcommittee this week. In addition to enhancement factors already prescribed under current Tennessee statute, this bill becomes law would give courts leeway to enhance the penalty for certain offenses up to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole if the defendant in which the country illegally when the crime was committed. The proposed law aims to deter those who come across the southern borders to commit crimes in Tennessee for drugs, human trafficking, etc. But guys, I tell you what, I love that. I do love it. But here's what I'd love more: for us to ban the mass transportation with actual enforcement, for us to cut off the taxpayer funding of education, which costs us $577 million a year, to increase E-Verify to 100% compulsory so that we know that people that come here to these job magnets in Tennessee won't have employment. And finally, all the welfare benefits need to be cut off yesterday. But Bill Lee, Cameron Sexton, and Randy McNally want the illegal immigration crisis to keep going forward full steam. Otherwise, how do you explain them giving illegal aliens professional licenses? How do you explain Bill Lee putting an illegal immigration center in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where kids were molested and lost? And how do you explain Please tell me, how do you explain that every time every one of those bills has been brought in front of the RINO-led General Assembly that they've all been killed? I don't know. Why do you have people like William Lambert wanting to make illegal aliens police officers and withdrawing bills? Why do you have people like Dale Carr wanting to weaken E-Verify? These aren't Democrats, these are Republicans. We need to turn off the magnets, not worry necessarily about what happens once somebody gets here and commits a violent crime. How about we just keep them from coming here to begin with through deterrence? Next story, or not even a story, you need to go check out my friend Steve Abramowitz at the Mill Creek View podcast. He is one of the few that covers conservative angles at the state level inside of Tennessee. Check that out, and you can watch it on his Rumble or any podcast platform. He recently interviewed a longtime conservative talker, Chris Stigall, and Lori Cardoza-Moore, a good friend of mine who serves on a special envoy to the United Nations for Human Rights and Anti-Semitism on behalf of 44 million Christians. So please do check out the Mill Creek View Tennessee podcast. I told you I'm going quick today. Next story. House Subcommittee pushes through bill to increase penalties for transporting illegal aliens into Tennessee. Here's some more movement. The Tennessee House Criminal Justice Subcommittee moved forward with Representative Brian Ritchie's bill. This week, the bill would amend the current Tennessee law by increasing the fine for transporting illegal aliens from $1,000 to $5,000. I would love to see these companies put completely out of business and shamed. When there ought to be some kind of database, when there's some company that mass transports illegal aliens into Tennessee, they ought not be able to ever do business here again, period. Ever. An amendment to the bill allows exceptions for the Department of Children's Services, law enforcement officials, Department of Corrections if they're acting in official capacity. It would also remove immunity from common carriers as well. It should. Common carriers are commercial transportation. Ritchie said transporters would be liable if they knowingly or recklessly transported illegal aliens. Representative Gloria Johnson asked how carriers such as buses who were transporting individuals to state other than Tennessee would be handled if they needed to just make a stop. Ritchie responded to his advice would be just to avoid Tennessee. I like that, Ritchie. I like that. With a roll call vote, ayes prevailed and the legislation will now be sent to the full Criminal Justice Committee. Now, here are two RINOs that you need to vote against in the Republican primary. Joining the Democrats and voting no is RINO Dan Howell and RINO John Gillespie. Both of them have terrible voting records. If you know anybody that lives in Dan Howell or John Gillespie's district, tell them they got RINOs and they need somebody else to run. Next story, bill requiring Tennessee law enforcement to report illegal aliens to federal government passes on House floor. I think this is one of those bills that's primarily, I'm not going to say it's a do-nothing bill, but you're going to tell the federal government about the bad stuff they're already doing that they're not stopping. How's that going to be helpful? I don't know. House Bill 2124, sponsored by Representative Rusty Grills, requires rather than authorizes law enforcement agencies to communicate with federal officials regarding the immigration status of any individual and cooperate with the feds in identification, apprehension, detention, or removal of illegals. Representative Grills addressed House members saying, in the past few weeks, criminal aliens have murdered a nursing student in Georgia, murdered a 2-year-old girl in Maryland, murdered a 16-year-old girl in Texas, sexually assaulted a child in Virginia, raped a 14-year-old at knife point in Louisiana, stabbed another man repeatedly in Louisiana. Just this past weekend, he continued. The West Tennessee Drug Task Force confiscated 85 pounds of fentanyl on I-40 from illegal alien. This is in Tennessee. Tennessee, guys. And Governor Lee won't do anything about it but go down to the border and take photo ops. That's it. And send 50 National Guardsmen down to the border. I mean, what a pointless gesture. I can't believe people are so low information that they think that that's going to help anything. There are 151 illegal migrants in the National Terrorism Watch List that have been countered by Border Protection agents last year, which means the other 85% probably got through. HB 2124 ultimately passed the House floor by a vote of 74-22, with all Republicans voting in favor. I'm amazed that Gillespie and that other guy didn't vote against it. All right, guys, listen. I'm going to forego the pitch and ask you to go to the Protect Tennessee Borders website, protecttnborders.com, protecttnborders.com. Register, and come to this event. We got great speakers. We got Senator Janice Bowling. We got Senator Mark Pody. We have got State Reps Brian Ritchie, Gino Bolso, State Rep Jody Barrett. We've got Pamela Furr with AFP. We have got, oh my goodness, I'm going to mess this up. I just saw the name. I knew I'd leave somebody out. We got me speaking. We got somebody from Moms for Liberty, and I'm just going to look it up right here. This is how bad it is. You just hold tight. I'm going to look it up. I'm not going to mess this up. I don't want to offend anybody, because God knows. Brandon Lewis's last wish and desire is to offend anyone. Rebecca Day, that's what I was going to say, but I've been corresponding with people all day today, and Steve Abramowitz. So come on out, and support us. And hey, listen, you see this thing, this little box back here? You see that little box? That is about $1,000. Actually, $1,300 worth of AV equipment. Not AV, but like a sound system I had to get to do this event. So if you want to go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support, if you can't make it to the rally, but you want to stop illegal aliens in Tennessee, help us offset the expense of marketing, promoting, and holding this Protect TN Borders rally. Go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support or mail your checks to P.O. Box 625, Signal Mountain, Tennessee 37377. I did not do the mailbag, and I'm sorry. Bill to combat executive branch overreach in Tennessee dies in House Subcommittee. A bill that would have prevented executive branch overreach in the state died in the Tennessee Public Service Committee, which is just full of RINOs. A motion to hear the bill must receive a second in order to have discussion. And this is basically what would have prevented Bill Lee from locking our schools down, locking our churches down, locking our businesses down, telling us we were selfish for worshiping, pushing a bunch of crap down our throats during the pandemic when he put more small businesses out of business than any other governor in Tennessee's history. This would have stopped it. But apparently, Iris Rutter, Rebecca Alexander, Rick Eldridge, Curtis Johnson, Kelly Kelsling, and Dennis Powers all think that's okay. They think it's okay for the governor to rule as a tyrant. Apparently, if they won't even second the bill to have it heard. There's some people on this list, Dennis Powers in particular, that I'm very disappointed with. He started off real conservative, but some of these votes here have me concerned. Next story. House Subcommittee kills Tennessee bill to create transparency in sexual harassment investigations. You want to talk about corruption in the Republican Party leadership? Here's a perfect example of it. The Public Service Committee, chaired by Representative Iris Rutter, failed to muster enough support to consider legislation brought by Rep. Todd Warrior and a Democrat rep, which I do agree with this. I don't think it matters if people come together from the left and the right if things are about government transparency, which would move sexual harassment complaints from the Office of Legislative Administration to a new liaison with the State Attorney General's office. Before the bill was denied, Warner was prepared to read a statement by a woman who signed a Swartz statement saying she was sexually assaulted while working in the legislature. That's probably why they shut it down. They didn't want this read. The woman's statement said, quote, "The sexual harassment policy is a tool to sweep the wrongdoings of those in power under the rug, and by doing this, empowering perpetrators to act again." I believe this is true. You know, the whole Scotty Campbell incident, we can't get the info on that, right? And there are apparently some other allegations of sexual harassment with Tennessee Republican leadership, and they won't even turn over the records. You know why? Because it probably reflect poorly on them. Protecting Children from Social Media Act to be heard in Tennessee House floor, HB 1891 and Senate Bill 2097 have both been passed out of the committee process, with the next step of being heard on each chamber floor. The legislation would require social media platforms to use age verification on accounts and obtain parental consents for minors on those platforms. I'm done. Guys, what's going on this weekend? I'm late for a 1 o'clock meeting. What's going on this weekend? Tonight, I'm going to go out to eat with some dear friends, the RINOs. All the kids are going to stay at our house. We're going to go down the hill. We're going to have a nice dinner. Tomorrow I got to work my little took-us off. I got to figure out how to work this stinking audio, this PA system. I've got a JBL PA system that you can plug into an outlet, but I don't believe they got any outlets on the Capitol steps, and I'm sure they wouldn't allow me access to their electricity, and if they did, they'd probably charge me, I don't know, $7,000 or $8,000. And so we bought this puppy over here. I got to figure out how to work that thing. Do help us offset the expense of buying that if you could. I do this completely for free. We are grassroots funded. So go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support. I am going to go to church and out to eat with my family at both 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock respectively. I've got a good friend of mine, Bo Abel, who is in town from Georgia, who was my first roommate. When I moved here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, I met him at First Presbyterian Church, and his kids were itty bitty a long time ago. Now they're very big. They're very big. They're grown girls, beautiful girls. And so I'm excited to see them. And then Sunday, I just want to get a bunch of stuff done around the house. I want to stay at home. I got a 72 Chevy Blazer, and that puppy's got a dead battery in it. So I've got to get that done. That's on my list for Sunday. Guys, I love you. Thank you. Do not let me be up there alone. ProtectTNBorders.com. Join us next week, Wednesday the 20th. Wednesday the 20th, 1 p.m. Central, on the Capitol steps behind the Beth Harwell Plaza. If you ever look around and ask yourself, I wonder how illegal immigration ran rampant forever in Tennessee, the answer would be because you didn't get engaged and involved. If you expect somebody else to do it, good luck. We got to get off the couch as conservative Christians and put our money and put our feet where our mouth is. Love you, mean it. I'll see you next week on the Tennessee Conservative Big 7, bringing you the news stories the mainstream media in Tennessee bury. They bury it, just like they bury those sexual harassment documents up there in Cordell Hull. And so, guys, if you want to know the truth, support us, especially as we go into election season. They ain't going to be another news outlet that will tell you the truth about people's voting record but us. Talk to you next week, guys. See ya.